Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Quantum Leadership Conference. I am so excited to be meeting with you again, and I am delighted to be here with Emer Stassen. Hello, Emer. Welcome.
Hello, I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, so glad to have you here with us. Now, I want to say, everybody, I apologize about the disruption at the end of the previous talk, which I gave this morning. If you were on that one, my internet cut out. I'm so sorry. And I had to reset the whole thing. I couldn't get back on for a while. So it's all good. And Emer and I were chatting about sequencing, and this is the meant to be sequence of events. So we trust completely. So let me go live on YouTube here, and definitely everybody, hi Lauren Rose, as you're coming in, please do put your name and location into the chat so we can welcome you here. And I'm going to open up the YouTube. Just getting that set up. Okay, going live on YouTube. There we go. Okay, so we are live on YouTube now as well. Hello, everybody joining us on YouTube. So glad to have you with us. Please put your name and location into the chat so we can welcome you in. And I'm just waiting for this screen to complete so I know everything is working, and then we'll get started. So thanks for your patience, everybody. We're not in Mercury retrograde yet, but it does start in 6 days. So that could be the reason for some of these interesting developments today. Okay, wonderful. So welcome Teresa in Alberta, Canada. Welcome Lauren Rose in Paris. Welcome Daria in Wexford, Ireland. Welcome Ilona in Sacramento, California. And there we go. Now everything's working. Good. Okay. Welcome. Welcome P. Witt in Minnesota. Welcome Leo in Germany. Great to have you here. Leo, I'm working on that Telegram group, by the way. I know we had talked about that yesterday. I need to get the link set up, and when I went to do it yesterday, it didn't work. Technology these days. So I'm going to try again today, and I will get that Telegram link out to everybody. We're going to create a Telegram group for the Quantum Leadership Conference so we can continue the conversation in between interviews and also after the conference is done. So I'll get that to everybody soon. Welcome Annabella in London, and welcome Ami in Germany. Thanks for joining us, Ami. And welcome Catherine. Yes, back on. Here we are again. All right. Well, Emer, it is just such a pleasure to be here with you. I always love our conversations and can't wait to hear what you will share about becoming an Aquarian leader today. And so let me just introduce you to everybody as we're getting started. All right. So Emer Stassen is a Shanachie, an Irish sacred storyteller. Through her evolving work, she carries on the traditions of her Irish lineages as story weaver, poet, and crafter of the true lore. Emer's mission is to walk the sacred lands to which she feels called, to activate the true stories rooted in the landscape, and to share these stories. She invites people to journey deep into their inner landscape, to remember the story of their precious soul. She is here to help heal the rift that keeps humanity separated from each other and from our inner truth, to heal the trauma out with and within in order to access divine truth. She supports the ascension of humanity into and back home to New Earth. She holds the torch for divine peace, equilibrium, and harmony to reign as our ancient gifts come back online. Yes, aho, ashe. In 2024, Emer founded the Irish Wisdom School, a space where the voice of Ireland can be shared now. Emer is from Dublin, Ireland, and lives in Falkirk, Scotland, with her husband, 3 children, and a border collie dog called Riley. And Riley is just so adorable. So, Emer, the topic of your interview today is becoming an Aquarian leader. And I just can't wait to hear what you will have to say about this. This is so important. So, can you begin by sharing with us what is an Aquarian leader?
Yes, and thank you for the gorgeous introduction. And what I was feeling was that a huge part of this and what you're doing, what we're doing, we're disrupting the status quo. And for me, it's a becoming, an unfolding, an unfurling of what I've called, and many people called, Aquarian leadership. And for me, like, my journey has been a journey of stepping into my leadership and also searching and exploring new ways of how can we be leaders now that are needed to co-create new earth and the world that we want to live in. So for me, it's very much about the circle. And I say for me, for many, it will be too. It's very much about the circle. And it's not no longer the hierarchy. I've heard people talk about the hierarchy that collapses into the circle. So in the circular space, it's where everyone is seen. And everyone, like the round table, everyone takes their seat from a place of full and balanced sovereignty. So there's no pulling on the energy of others. There's no giving our power over to others, as is the way of the hierarchy. This is a full reclamation of the truth of who you are in each moment, because it's dynamic, it changes all the time. And you can choose to stay in the space of the circle, or at any moment, you will have your time to step into the center and share your truth. So it's such a beautiful and feels so good when we come together in circle and we hold space for each person to share their view, share their opinion. And the expectation is that we will have differing opinions and views, and everything is welcome in the circle. So it's such a practice of acceptance, of compassion, of holding space and noticing what triggers or moves through us as others share their truths. So it's the inner reflection, the outer reflection, and so much more. It really is this process of welcoming everything in that moment in circle. And that can be with other people, or also something I've been teaching and stepping into more myself is around the medicine wheel, which is such an indigenous tool for us to connect with now in relation to leadership. And it can be something that we step into our own circle or inhabit and co-create with our own circle as well in terms of our leadership. So it takes on very many different forms. And when we stand in the center of our own circle, this is the space that all the roads, all the paths lead to this moment in time. And we have that 360 view of the path we have taken, of where we have stepped up until that moment. And from this moment forward, we co-create. So it is the esoteric and it's the very practical lived experience through our stories.
Yes, this is so beautiful. I have chills as you're sharing, Emer. This concept of it is expected that we will have different viewpoints and all the different viewpoints are welcome. How amazing, right? And how radically different than what we see happening in the world right now. But we know that the indigenous cultures have been holding this model for us the whole time, right? Of being in council, being in circle. And thank you so much for bringing this clarity to the importance of the circle.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is so important. And that's what was going through me. Like, can we hold this space strongly, knowing that our roots are deeply rooted and that our truth is as valid as yours and everyone else's? So, how strongly can you hold your space in that?
Yes. Yes. Amazing. So, can you tell us, Emer, in your own journey, how has this been for you in embracing this concept of Aquarian leadership in your own life?
Oh my goodness. Well, it's been particularly amplified in this past year. And well, it began more consciously for me when I knew I had to step out. So we've got similarities in our paths that we have walked, but when I knew I had to step out of the corporate environment that I was working in as a trainer, as yeah, delivering training, leadership training programs actually for my corporate clients. And I had this knowing, so that was the first part of intuitively knowing what's your right next step. And I knew I had to step out of this environment because the world outside was calling me, and I had no idea what it was calling me to. So I stepped into this unknown space back in 2017 and began to explore the aspects of what I had suppressed within myself. So, who am I now when I'm not connected with this corporate environment, when I'm not this title on an organizational chart, and I'm not this person on a hierarchy? Who am I now? So, there was a lot of soul searching, a lot of walking in the woods and not knowing what was going to come next. It was a space where the fear was coming up and the grief. So, all of this, I was shedding these layers of conditioning that I didn't even know were there. And then in 2019, I came across this amazing person called Jocelyn, who was running. I don't know when you did Fearless Female Entrepreneurs. When did you do that summit?
That was 2018. That was January of 2018. Yeah.
2018. So somehow I found you in 2018 and watched every single interview in that summit. And I realized there was a fearless leader within me that was really bursting to break free, and she didn't know how. So I began on my journey of exploring feminine leadership first and foremost, because I'd worked and come from and stepped out of very masculine, structured environments. So I had suppressed the storyteller in me, the creative, the poet, all these things I had forgotten about myself. So I began to, in a way, reinstate these parts and bring them back online so that my masculine leader could reconnect and get to know my feminine leader once again to weave the new story, the next phase. So, as part of that, then I had this very dramatic witch awakening, which I feel now it really helped blast through the cobwebs and help me connect with the truth of my voice and speak my truth once again. And that really went on for probably about 4 years, where yeah, I was connecting with the grief of the witch burnings and the trauma, and at the same time beginning to walk and come back to my own Indigenous roots of Ireland, which I had strayed away from. So with all of that, it began, I was finding my voice and experimenting with different ways of storytelling and poetry. And I realized my channel was opening up to receive. I was beginning to receive messages, beginning to consciously receive messages. And then last year in 2023, Bridget appeared to me at the end of January 2023. And with her was Magdalene, and they were both holding these flames. It was like they were woven as one. And they were holding these flames, and the flame was gifted to me. And I'm holding it going, what do you want me to do with this? And I like, feed this flame, dance this flame, feed it with your desire. So there was a whole instruction and transmission coming through about how I was to step forward as the leader that I am now. So it's been quite a colorful journey up until this point.
Amazing. Yes, it's so interesting how the witches came in to guide you, and these goddess energies have come in to guide you and have really, led the way, shown you the way forward. So powerful. And I think that's an interesting facet of the awakening process. I'm thinking of the mountain talking to me as I was sharing this morning, and then these beings coming and speaking to you. And there's something really just incredible that happens when we open up to what we cannot see, but we know is communicating with us in these powerful ways.
Yes, yes. And in that moment, then for me as well, it was like I knew there was no going back to that environment.
Right,
There was only going forward.
right.
And I had had this vision from probably 2015 of walking through a rainforest, and everything was so pure and animated and crystalline and clear. You could hear all the wildlife and the people, and stepping out from the trees into the sand, and that there was a fire, a great big bonfire lit there on the edge. So it was like on the edge of possibility.
Mm.
And for many years, it was just me roaming around in the sand, wondering, where are the people? Where's the tribe? And gradually, over time, the people are here. We're all here now at this bonfire, co creating new ways at the threshold. And I find as Aquarian leaders, we are always at this threshold as way
Mhm.
showers and forging the new path. Yeah.
Yes, I love that. Being continually at the threshold, daring to hold that space at
Yeah.
the threshold. Yeah, yeah, I love that. So you have spoken about this, courage to let everything go in order to open up a new way. So could you tell us what happened for you at Beltane this year?
Oh, yes. So this year, 2024, I feel it's probably been one of the most challenging years of my life. And that's a big statement. And perhaps it has been for many people. But I found out through my astrology that I'm 49, so this is my Chiron return year. And the deeper, and it's almost up. Chiron has almost returned. My birthday's in December on the 12/12 portal. So I had no idea what, of course we don't, what this really meant when I was told a while ago, this will be your Chiron return year. And really everything, like I've been invited to address everything that I've either continued to suppress or not turned towards. And Chiron's in my seventh house of relationships. So it's all been about my relationship with self. Like, who am I? Who am I now? What kind of leader am I? And relationship with others, relationships with money, all these different things that have been weaving throughout the years. So I've had many situations throughout the year to help heal these parts of myself that Chiron is helping me to heal. In March, before the Bealtaine fire incident, in March time, I had this shamanic healing session. And as part of it, I was led by this little boy. It could have been my son, a younger version of my son. And he led me across stepping stones of a lava field. And if it hadn't been a little boy, I may not have followed, but I trusted, well, if the boy can go there, I will go too. And he led me into a cave. And we went deep, deep into this cave. And in the very center of this cave was, it's actually, it was almost like, you get these pottery, as I used to get them for the kids, this clay pottery kits that you then paint and they're white. So it was like snow white. And it was either a dinosaur or a dragon or a combination. And I was being really invited to go into the cave, to go into the darkness, to really connect with my power, my true power once again. And it helped me connect with, well, I was gifted rose quartz, which I placed in my womb. I was gifted eggs, which cracked open to reveal liquid plasma gold, and also cacao as well. Like all of these gifts were being given to me to help me remember. But I kind of parked that experience. And then at Bealtaine time, I was actually doing a live webinar. And as part of the meditation, I could hear myself saying, like, I was shocked by these words coming out, inviting people and myself to place everything on the Bealtaine fire. And Bealtaine being the southeast of the medicine wheel, so it's directly opposite Samhain, where we are right now in the northern hemisphere. And it's one of the cross-quarter seasons. So as part of the fire festival, it was not placing different aspects that were no longer serving. It was placing everything on the Bealtaine fire. I really had no idea what I was getting myself in for. And as the leaders we are, we follow these divine instructions. And out of that, then, so the old stories, who we think we are, the smaller versions of ourselves, everything goes on there, the grander versions. I placed it all on the fire to burn. And literally from May, probably until August time, I feel like I was enveloped in this cave, in this darkness, in this not knowing. And anything I felt like, any ideas I had, I thought, oh, this is an idea, I'll follow the trail. I was stopped. It was like, no. So it was all going on internally. No, not now. No, no. So it's like suddenly all these ideas were gone. I was stripped of everything in the void, in the not knowing. And it's not a place I may not have chosen to go there willingly. But because of the shamanic journey and then this instructions live on air, then, well, there's always a choice, but there was really minimal choice. And for me, it was a huge ego death again, which is so necessary as an Aquarian leader. These egoic versions of ourself, the titles, even the qualifications, even the books, oh, everything, the myths, the stories, it all needs to go. And it doesn't mean it's gone. Then it creates the space for the new to arise. So that has been really, really profound. And I can explain it now in hindsight, but at the time, as people will know, it's so confusing, it's so frustrating, and it's scary as heck when we're there.
Mm-hmm.
And when we know we must be in these places from time to time. And for me, understanding this as part of Chiron, as the wounded healer, as the shamanic guide, this is all part of the journey. So don't give up, stick with it, and seek the support. So that's where the support of Circle and other leaders has been really, really massive. And a big part for me as a leader is the ability to receive that support. So that's been a big, big part of the journey. Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing this with us, Emer, and these times of going into that dark cave, they really do change us. It's like they shift our perspective of reality. And I honor you for daring to go there, for daring to put everything on the altar or the fire. It's so powerful to say yes to that leap into the unknown and not know, and go and navigate through those times of not knowing. So Thank you for doing it, because you do it for all of us, you know. It's like we all are healing one another too as we heal ourselves.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. And it takes immense trust, doesn't it? And
Yeah.
I often have a little chuckle that like my higher self is looking over all of us, and there I am skipping after this little boy going, oh, this is an exciting adventure, and then realizing, oh no, it's all gone. So we're led along the garden path for these profound healings and initiations to happen, to unfold, because they're very
Yeah.
necessary.
And that's what's happening in our world on so many levels, right? We're just seeing everything just crumbling. And yet we're here and we're holding space for that. And we're, you know, bringing the light even through all of it. And even when we don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's so powerful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Has this Chiron return? It's so interesting. This is all happening astrologically. I'm just like,
Yeah.
wow, this is so powerful. Um, that wounded healer, you know, and ultimately Chiron wants us to heal the wound so that we can rise into leadership. That's the goal with Chiron. It's not just to stay stuck in the wound. And so how have you seen that, or have you come to a point where you see that happening, the other side of it yet, you know, the leadership or the teaching or the role you're meant to take up now that you've been through?
Yes. Yeah, gradually I feel it's unfurling organically. And the actually Chiron, it's at on my 20 degrees of Aries. And astrologically this year, like it's been so present
Yeah.
globally.
Just going back and forth over top of your Chiron.
And I think there's another next year, it'll come back again. And I'm like, no, not again. I'm ready. I'm ready. No. So after all, it was around about August um, onwards, that then ideas began to start sprouting. And coming out the other side, as I am now, I love your question actually, because the first idea I had was about founding an Irish wisdom school and not knowing what that could be and trusting that this is something that wants to unfurl organically. Because actually, June of this year, I did my first sweat lodge, and it was in Scotland on Celtic ground, and it was so intense. If have you, I imagine you've done sweat lodges.
Yes, yes, definitely. Yeah.
So intense. And we're sitting on the earth in this lodge that we've co-created as a group. And the lady facilitating it normally passes the talking stick around 4 times. She felt for our group, we needed to go 5 times. So it felt like we were in there in that the heat of this womb, sitting on the earth, on Mother Earth for an age. So it was a huge part of, I felt like I was being rebirthed. But while I was in there, and I can't remember what I was sharing, but I know the feeling that, oh, I'm a voice. I'm one of the voices for Mother Earth. I'm here. I can feel her speaking through me. It felt really profound. And I felt like when I shared with the talking stick, everyone else was silent, of course, that they are. But it felt really powerful, like another powerful initiation that I can be this because I already am. It's happening. And being Irish and from Ireland, I felt like I was being asked to be a voice for Ireland now, beyond the myths that have been written down, and really connect with what else is within the wisdom of the land and the lore that is ready to be revealed now. So that came through really strongly after August as I began to come out of the cave into the light. And as part of that, the first process was to revisit the Irish medicine wheel and reconnect with the goddesses who were waiting patiently in the circle.
Amazing, amazing. And yeah, this is just so beautiful. The steps being revealed to you, you know. And yes, you have such a powerful voice and such a beautiful poetic, you know, way of sharing your voice. So I'm so excited to see how that will continue to unfold.
Yeah, yeah, and for that, I feel the ego needed to burn away
Mhm.
because this is such a humbling mission to step forth into, that I accept with such an open heart and deeply rooted toes and feet.
Amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
So there's another piece here with the centaur, cherry glow. Could you tell us about that and how that has been guiding you?
Yeah, and you know about Chiron and Chericlo so well, and for me, this is a whole new experience of feeling their energy by my side. Because when I was delving more into Chiron, and I actually have a book, I've got my laptop on top of it, Chiron and the Healing Journey by Melanie Reinhardt. I bought that book when I learned I was going through, and I dip in and out
Gotta
of
have a guide.
yeah, yeah. Where
Yep.
am I now on, on the journey? And I found out, wow, here's Chericlo, who stayed by Chiron's side for thousands of years to hold space for him in his wounding. And I feel like I move between, I'm in one moment I'm Chiron, one moment I'm Chariclo, and to know that this space has also been held for me, for us, for all of us who are going through deep initiations right now, or are have been called into the darkness to know yourself again. It gave me such a reassurance that, as well as all the support that I know and feel, that Chericlo has my back as well. And the fact that she feels like such an ancient cosmic mother energy and will not judge. It's another part of the circle. There's no judgment. And where there is judgment, we connect with that and spend time with it. But she does not judge. She welcomes us with such open heart into her bosom to mother us all over again. So that's been really, again, humbling and such a support on this journey to really commune with these centaurs, with these deities. And being a Sagittarius, I love hanging out with the centaurs. Really gorgeous. Um, and yeah, that's been that's been wonderful in one way, even with the depth of this initiation.
Mm.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yes, thank you so much for sharing your story with all of this.
Mhm.
And it's such a beautiful invitation to everybody listening to don't be afraid to go into the cave when it's your time and look for the gifts, look for the treasures, and you will come out again. And we can really trust that and we can really surrender into that. So thank you for this real life lived example of how to navigate these times.
Yeah, because what I've also found is when I speak to people, I've been wondering about, well, what have other people's experiences been of their Chiron return, either throughout their life or at this key age of 49, 50. And I was finding that people were having huge dramatic initiations. Someone shared their mother died on their 50th birthday, and she received the wisdom of the lineage that her mother was connected to. I've heard of another person share that in that year she went through a really challenging divorce that disrupted and changed her whole path. So it's been, well, reassuring, even though, people have gone through really challenging situations. It's been reassuring, almost like I'm beginning to find Chiron support groups where you go, oh, okay, that's the way it's unfolded for you. It's like one of these well, that's what I've found. It's one of these almost unspoken things of the different experiences that people have gone through in this initiation. So that's
Mm,
been reassuring in one way as well.
yeah. It's interesting for women that it's at the same time as perimenopause and moving into menopause too. So then that's part of the initiation as well. And maybe the deeper meaning of what Chiron brings can help us to decode what's happening in the body.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And for me, actually, whether it's fortunate or not, I've already gone through menopause, probably in my late, maybe 46, probably. So maybe, well, I'm saying maybe, I imagine that's all part of the divine plan. Have that done and dusted.
Yeah.
Now it's time. Yeah, now it's time to really sink into the teachings and the lessons of Chiron. And as you've mentioned earlier, what we do for ourselves, it's also having ripples in the collective and for our lineage, for my lineage, the Irish, the Celtic lineage. So it's so multidimensional beyond what we'll ever fathom while in this human form, I imagine.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I want to welcome everybody listening to put any questions you might have for Emer in the chat. So on YouTube, on Zoom, put your questions in the chat, and we would love to hear what you would like to ask. And I want to say welcome to Laura on YouTube, and welcome to America Artist of the Quantic Planetary Renaissance on YouTube. Great to have you here. Love your name. um, and welcome, to ask your questions there on YouTube as well. So also, I want to share about Emer's free gift. So Emer is offering this beautiful free gift called Sacred Transmission and Journey with Primordial Goddess. How do you pronounce her name?
Her name is Tlachtga, even though it's spelled TL.
Okay.
Tlachtga, like a clock.
Okay, of Ireland's ancient East. So could you tell us a little bit about this free gift, Emer? And I will put that in the chat for everybody.
Yeah, so it actually came about, it's part of a live teaching when I was teaching the Irish Medicine Wheel. And this was in September of this year, prior to teaching the class around Tlachtga. I was connecting with her and feeling into what messages she wished to share with the class and now with everyone watching that signs up. And this transmission came through an hour or two before going live for the class. And Tlachtga she is this ancient primordial goddess of Ireland, and she is attributed to one of the creators of Samhain, at the time of Halloween, or Samhain, the season that we're currently in. And she, in paintings of her, she holds this earth spear that is like a bolt of lightning. And it's actually a spear of illumination to support your own illumination and coming into the light. So she helps with the healing, inner healing, transformation, and also your resurrection, your rising into more ascended states of being. So the free gift is me sharing and speaking the sacred transmission and then guiding you on a journey so that you can connect more deeply with this primordial Irish goddess and feel into the messages, the inspiration that she has for you. Because her time as well, it's also the Celtic New Year at this time of Samhain. So it really is about the endings and letting go of the endings and stepping in and clearing the space for the new. And as well as that, at Samhain, she is also guiding us into the darkest time of the year, Samhain, and then winter solstice. So there's also a short song that had come through as part of that transmission and the journey. So I hope people will find that as powerful as the class did when I taught it live as well. Yeah. And it felt really right for this group and this audience, because it's so quantum and Aquarian. Oh, and Daria saying, I miss everyone in the class. Yeah. Oh, I think that's
and yes, Daria said too, that class series was so amazing. I miss our gatherings. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. Kasha is asking, hi Emer, will there be another follow-up program or class, which is Return to Your Power?
There may be, and let's put it out there as I feel into what are the sacred instructions of what wants to unfold next. Yeah. Once again, because I was invited again at Samhain time to place everything on the Samhain fires. So I'm in this holding space, not as dramatic as the Bealtaine time, thankfully. So I'm in this holding space to feel into what wants to unfold next. But I do have a poem, but I know we're opening to questions as well, and I have a little
No,
poem.
go ahead, share your poem.
Yeah, okay. I realized I'd written this poem a while ago, and before coming on and connecting into Aquarian leadership, I came across the poem and thought, well, this sums up a lot of what we're speaking about. So it's quite short. And it is about the sacred stones of the Celtic lands that are calling all souls to gather together to remember once again. To sing our sacred songs, to hum our healing tunes, to dance the dance of remembrance, to howl fearlessly at the moon, to heal our tender hearts, to witness ancient wounds, to weave ourselves back whole again and remember our divine truths, that we are pure royal beings. We carry ancient codes. Each one of us is a key to access New Earth consciousness. And these codes are waiting for reactivation in order to be released into collective consciousness now. And the stones of the Celtic lands hold the wisdom, and so do you. For they know the truth. They are the ancient story keepers. They stand now waiting for you. For this ancient Celtic land, this place of the wise ones and the druids, this sacred space of Ireland is calling out to you. So come, join us to realize your crystalline gold. Join us to reclaim your throne. Join us to reconnect to soul friends. And join us to weave yourself anew as an Aquarian leader.
Oh, so beautiful. Thank you, Emer.
Thank you. Yeah, it's the circle, it's the connection, it's the joy that we feel when we connect with soul sisters and brothers again. It really soothes this ancient yearning for connection. Oh, that's gorgeous.
Oh, people love the poem. Yes, Lauren Rose says, do you want me to set it to music?
Yes.
How lovely.
Please. What an invitation. And it really is that each one, when we're in the circle, each one of us is a key. We do carry this wisdom.
Yes, that's so important to the Aquarian principles, is every individual is so important and unique and special, and every person's uniqueness is valued. And I love what you said at the beginning about at any time, any one of us could step forward and speak in the circle. We're all equal. At any moment, you can step forward and share.
Yes. Yeah. And knowing that that support, that you will fully be embraced and held by the circle. And it's so, well, not to generalize, but for many, it's so new. It's such a new concept, yet an ancient feeling, and knowing that we're remembering to function, to lead in this way, and as well, I feel, because I've done so much work with the healing of the witch wound and exploring the word witch, when people were saying, can you use another word? So it feels like leadership, and being a leader almost needs some kind of healing as well, the language around it. Where we all know we are the leaders, we are the role models. Yeah.
There is a question here from Dea. She says, how do you recommend that we navigate similar transitions as you had from working in the corporate world to embracing our calling?
Ooh.
That's a big one.
Just jump.
Yeah.
Take the leap.
Wait.
Just do it. So yeah, it's I guess it depends on that knowing within. For me, I knew I had to fully break free and step away. And I know for others, they've straddled it and maintained their role in that environment in the corporate world whilst building and creating something new. So there is no one way. So what I would say for you is to trust your divine instructions. And as you take each step, more knowings, you'll meet the people, you'll find a book, you'll do a course, you'll learn a new skill, and your world will begin to change so easily. So yeah, trust that you're being guided. And if you do want to jump, it's amazingly exhilarating at the same time.
Like skydiving.
Yeah, yeah. With all the safety mechanisms that are in place.
Yes. And you get to stay on the ground while you do it.
Yeah, I have done one of those. It was quite scary. And the bungee jump was even scarier.
I haven't done either of those. I can't, my nervous system probably wouldn't do so well with those kinds of things. But leaving corporate, yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It can
Yeah.
feel like a similar exhilaration.
I think I'll just add a little thought to this too, and answer to that question.
Yeah.
I think it's so important to pay attention to what information the universe is giving you at that time as well, because it will be telling you when to take the leap. Like in my case, it was getting so unbearable. I mean, the scenario that was happening in my corporate job, as far as my new CFO boss that took over and how evil she was and how evil her boss was, and the things they were doing that were just ridiculous. And at the same time, then having these experiences of going to New Mexico and all the magic opening, at some point, I just had to say, all right, universe, fine, I'll do it. Please support me, and it did. All of these forces were in support. So it's like, pay attention to when you're being given the signs that now is the time, and you can't go wrong.
That's gorgeous. And it's amazing. There's a whole new world that exists beyond the structures where we've been. And that's the magical part. Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Let's see, we have a couple more comments. Michelle says, I do feel all are unique and equal. but I kind of think that not everyone is a key. I think many souls are here just to have a human experience kind of innocently and not to be part of social change. Can you speak to that possibility? What do you think of that?
Mm. Yeah, I even feel in what you've shared that is a key. That each one of us, we've chosen to be here at this time in our human form. So anything that you do or think or say, even in just having that human experience, which is a miracle in itself, that's a key. That's a catalyst. That's an activation for each interaction that you have and encounter.
Mm.
Again, beyond what we may ever know while we're here in this form.
Yeah, yes. Leslie says, when I went through a big transition, my mantra was, I just keep putting one foot in front of the other and trust that the ground will rise to meet me. It worked in ways I could never have imagined.
Mm.
Yeah, thank you, Leslie. Much love to you, Leslie. Hi.
That's really gorgeous. I
Yeah.
did read one of the books that was a real catalyst for me was Rebecca Campbell's Rise, Sister Rise.
Mm.
And she has lots of sung mantras within that as well. And part of the mantra is you rise first, then I'll rise too, or something along those lines. And that was another realization. I I need to go. I can't wait any longer for anyone else to do it for me. I must take the leap. And that was part of that knowing that I can rise and be a role model for others.
Right. Yeah, that's so beautiful too, knowing that just by taking that step, we are modeling it for others and it will be an inspiration to others.
Yes.
And we're putting that into the collective, we're, as you said at the beginning, Emer, we are I can't remember the word. Oh, disrupting, you said, disrupting the status quo, right? By taking that leap, we're disrupting the status quo and we're widening the field of the new coming in with each of these steps that we take. So
Yeah.
we are so powerful. We are so much more powerful than we know.
Yeah, and it is the grassroots movement that people talk about, and we're strengthening the circles of leadership with each step, and we are getting stronger, regardless of what's going on in our outer world. We
Mhm.
really are, and that creates the vortex. Then that circle, that round table, creates the vortex for the new.
Yes, I love that. I'm looking over here on YouTube, and America Artist of the Quantic Planetary Renaissance says, beautiful poem, beautiful call. Um, and also says, I knew my passion before I left the corporate world, and I planned and trusted my heart despite all telling me I was crazy. I loved that I did this transitioning. I feel like a hero, very courageous. Yes, you are a hero. You are. So amazing.
We are the hero leaders, and there's a word in Irish called Neart, and it means strength and courage. And it's a seanachal, it's an Irish phrase, ní neart go curla céile. And what it means is that when we go together, we are stronger. So
Oh,
it's
beautiful.
very deeply rooted, this whole idea of co-creation, of community, of togetherness, of weaving is so deeply rooted in indigenous cultures.
Hmm.
So that we have that Nyarth, we know we have this strength to be who we're meant to be on our soul missions.
That's a powerful word. Can you say that again?
Nyarth, so it's spelled Neart.
Wow.
Nyarth.
Uh-huh.
It's gorgeous, isn't it? And that it rhymes with heart and
I
yeah,
mean, you said it's strength and courage.
yeah, strength, courage. Yeah,
It
yeah,
sounds like strength and courage. Nyarth. Yes. Let's all claim our Nyarth today. You say it better than I do, Emer.
Nyarth. Let's claim our Nyarth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Really is.
That's a
And it's sometimes described because Irish words can mean so many different things. people sometimes describe it as that life force energy. So it's that really like the Kundalini energy, that rising up, that ignition of the flame, you know, the fire, Nyarth. It's that energy that helps propel us forward in our lives. Yeah.
Amazing. I love that so much.
Gorgeous.
And Jessica says, link up and rise up, as Jude Curvin says it. Yes.
Gorgeous.
Beautiful. Wow. Well, Emer, can you tell us, where can people find you online? And do you have anything new you want to share about, any upcoming events or anything like that?
Yes, so people can find me right now at emerstassen.com. And that's while the Irish Wisdom School is unfurling in the background. And the current event is actually next May. I'm running a retreat in Ireland, in Dingle, which is where my mum is from. So it's inviting people to come home to your roots, to your ancient Irish or Celtic roots. So I have spaces on that right now, and details are on my website. And if people sign up for my free gift, then you'll be on my mailing list for what sparks of information want to flow.
Yes.
Sparks flowing. I don't know. But
I want to put your, what is your website?
.com.
.com. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to put that in the chat. Oh, so you have the retreat right here on your page. That's great. So
It's right there. Yeah. Nyarth, that is the spelling, Michelle. Yeah. Neart.
So I put that link in the chat on Zoom, and here's the link on YouTube as well. So that'll take you right to the May retreat in Dingle, Ireland. How amazing. Thank you for telling us about that.
Yeah. And that's like the instructions, and the feeling for me is to gather people together and in person. And that's how we can be part of this revolution as well. Jocelyn, you've frozen on my side. So I don't know if I've frozen as well. And good morning, Gazelle from Costa Rica. It's beautiful. Jocelyn has frozen, yes. I'm not frozen, so that's really bizarre. Jocelyn's frozen and I'm not. Oh, you've got beautiful comments. Thank you, Amy. Lovely to hear from you. Heartfelt blessings. Frozen in Colorado. Yes, it is quite cold here too, in Scotland. Well, Jocelyn has disappeared, so it feels like this is sacred divine timing to wrap things up and to take the torch and pass it on to whoever the next speaker will be. Enjoy this beautiful summit. And Lauren Rose, yes, I will send you an email. I can pop my email address in the chat if that helps. emer@stassen.co.uk. There we are. So much love to you all. And we will see you all again soon. Bye for now. Thanks for all being here live and in the replay.